The day of escalating tensions took a dark and violent turn as Major General Kyrylo Budanov, the formidable and highly public chief of Ukraine's main directorate of intelligence, was assassinated in a brazen attack in the heart of Kyiv. The killing of one of the country's most important and symbolic wartime figures represents a devastating blow to Ukraine's security apparatus and a dramatic escalation in the shadow war being fought far from the front lines. The assassination, carried out with chilling precision, was immediately and universally blamed on Moscow by Ukrainian officials, who framed it as the deadliest and most audacious element of the Kremlin's multifaceted retaliations against the West. While Moscow issued swift denial, the death of General Budanov sent a shockwave of grief and fury across Ukraine and drew swift condemnation from Washington, transforming a crisis of sanctions and diplomacy into one of state-sponsored terror. The attack fundamentally altered the calculus of the conflict, demonstrating a Russian willingness to strike at the highest level of Ukrainian leadership, a red line that many feared had now been crossed. The attack occurred during the mid-morning rush hour on a busy thoroughfare in the city Peshchersky district, an area that houses numerous government buildings and foreign embassies. According to preliminary reports from Ukraine's security service, a powerful, remotely detonated explosive device was planted along General Budanov's daily route to the HER headquarters. The blast completely destroyed his armored official vehicle, killing him and his driver instantly and injuring several civilians in the vicinity. The sophistication of the device and the precise timing of its detonation pointed to a meticulously planned operation requiring high-level intelligence and significant on-the-ground logistical support. Eyewitnesses described a deafening explosion that shattered windows for blocks and sent a plume of black smoke billowing into the sky. The immediate aftermath was a scene of chaos and horror, with emergency services rushing to a burning wreck that was once a symbol of the Ukrainian state's resilience. The SBU immediately launched a massive counterintelligence operation across the capital, locking down the city and initiating a frantic search for the perpetrators, whom they described as a Russian sabotage and reconnaissance group. The official confirmation of General Budanov's death came from the office of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who delivered a somber and emotional address to the nation. Visibly shaken, President Zelensky called Budanov a true hero of Ukraine and a personal friend, whose death was an act of cowardly terrorism orchestrated by the Russian Federation. He vowed that Ukraine would deliver a harsh and unequivocal response. They think that by killing one man, they can break the spirit of a nation. Zelensky declared, his voice filled with anger. They are mistaken. They have not broken us. They have enraged us. There will be retaliation for this. The enemy will feel the consequences of this despicable act on their own territory. The sentiment was echoed across the Ukrainian government and military establishment, with senior officials promising that the intelligence agency Budanov had built into a formidable force would now be singularly focused on avenging its fallen leader. General Budanov was not merely a high-ranking official. He was a living symbol of Ukraine's defiant resistance, a young and dynamic intelligence chief. He was known for his blunt assessment and his role in planning and executing some of Ukraine's most daring operations. Under his leadership, the HER was credited with successful long-range drone strikes on military and industrial targets deep inside Russia, sabotage operations against Russian infrastructure, and bold cross-border raids. He cultivated a public persona of audacious confidence, frequently giving interviews in which he taunted the Kremlin and predicted Russia's ultimate defeat. He had also been the target of numerous previous assassination attempts, a fact he often spoke about with a sense of fatalistic resolve. His death is therefore a profound psychological blow, removing a figure who embodied the country's fighting spirit and demonstrating Russia's capacity to reach even the most heavily guarded individuals in the Ukrainian state. In Washington, the news was met with outrage and immediately hardened the position of the Trump administration. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued a forceful statement directly accusing the Kremlin of orchestrating a state-sponsored assassination. The targeted killing of a senior government official of a sovereign nation is an act that cannot be tolerated by the civilized world, Secretary Rubio stated. The Kremlin's denial are worthless and insulting. This brutal murder, following a day of economic and cyber warfare, confirms that Vladimir Putin's regime is a rogue state that operates outside the bounds of international law. The United States stands in full solidarity with our Ukrainian partners in this dark hour, and we will work with them to ensure those responsible are held accountable. The statement signaled that any faint hope for diplomatic de-escalation had been extinguished by the attack. The Pentagon, under the direction of Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth, responded by raising the alert level for U.S. force in Europe. A defense official speaking on background confirmed that intelligence sharing with Ukrainian counterparts would be intensified, with a specific focus on providing any information that could help identify the network responsible for the assassination. The U.S. intelligence community was placed on a war footing to analyze the event. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was tasked with producing an immediate and comprehensive assessment for President Trump on Russian culpability, while CIA Director John Ratcliffe coordinated with Allied intelligence agency to pull information. The prevailing view within the American national security apparatus was that the attack was a deliberate message from Moscow, intended to show that no Ukrainian leader was safe and that Russia was willing to escalate the conflict in the most personal and brutal ways imaginable. As expected, the Kremlin issued a flat denial. Presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the accusation from Kyiv and Washington hysterical and baseless, suggesting the assassination was the result of internal power struggles within the Kyiv's regime. He further alleged that Ukraine was using the incident as a cynical provocation to distract from its own failure on the battlefield and to lobby for greater military assistance from its Western backers. This predictable response did nothing to quell the international outcry and was widely dismissed as disinformation. The assassination of Kyrylo Budanov was not seen as a random act of violence, but as a calculated and strategic move by Moscow, a grim and bloody punctuation mark on a day of coordinated aggression that had pushed the US-Russia relationship and the world into a new and much more dangerous phase. Many of my listeners, like 70%, haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel. And so many of you don't even know that you haven't subscribed. And that is actually what makes the show going. It's almost like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask again and again, because it enables us to grow and grow and grow. And we're going for the long haul here. And listen, if this is your first time listening to Sukhane Rich, you don't have to subscribe. You guys, your first one's on me. But if you have watched this show before, it's like you're a freeloader now. So all I would ask you is, if you have seen this show before and you like it, help me, help my teammate here. Hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. That I swear, thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's all for me for today. I will see you soon. Bye for now.